The top 10
Top 10s
of board gaming from Board Move Reviews.
I think that was perfect.
Yeah!
Why are we still playing board games? Let's face it, technology has advanced to the point where we don't need to go through all the hassle of bringing a game group together and all the headaches that causes. All we gotta do is push a button on a console or device and we have a complete game experience, no strings attached. But not only are we still playing board games, but they're close to as popular as they've ever been. Why is that? I think there's two reasons. One, I think, is the social element, the fact that we still want to hang out with people and interact face to face. The second one, and what I think is almost as important and what I'm focusing on today, is the fact that no matter what's available to us digitally, we still crave a tactile experience. We want things we can pick up and touch and hold and interact with on a physical level. That's why today I'm doing my top 10 list of best games based solely on components. These are games that, no matter how good the actual gameplay is, I still get excited to open the box up, look at the pieces, take them out and play with them. So let's take a look. Go to the table and see the top 10 games based solely on components. The number 10 game on my list is Seasons, and Seasons is a really nice looking game, has a lot going for it. You got this cool board, real colorful, nice color scheme on it. Your score track with some nice artwork on it. You got your player board, your character sheets here, and there's no variable powers in the game, and so you know you're doing a good job with the artwork when you care about what player or character you're playing, even though they do the same thing as everybody else. You got the psychotic bunny. You got the magic cat, you got the pumpkin head guy, and you got whatever this thing is. I'm not sure what that is. But you got some really nice cards in the game. Comes with a bunch of these, almost like a CCG style. Just some really nice artwork. Really cool to look at. But the centerpiece of this game, and the reason why it's on this list, are because this big chunky dice they come with. You got some red ones, you got some blue ones, you got greens, you got yellows, and you roll different ones depending on what season you're in the game, but it's really cool. The iconography on them is really neat. They're nice and carved, just real solid, chunky dice. It's just fun on your turn to pick them up and roll them and see what comes up. So that's why this game's on my list. Number 10 best components, Seasons. When you think about games with the best components, you think about minis, and you think about plastic, and you think about nice wooden chits and really cool dice. But Gosu is the number 9 game on my list, and it doesn't have any of that. You see that's a very minimalist box, really cool artwork on the cover, but you take it out, you got the rule book, and that's all you got. You got a deck of cards, you got some of these chits, which are pretty neat looking. Nothing to complain about. But the reason why this game is on my list is because of the artwork on these cards. It's just a very simple, basic card game, but the artwork on these are just amazing. Some of my favorite artwork I've ever seen in any game ever. You play all these different goblins, and you see they all just have different color schemes based on what faction they're a part of. And I mean, it's just amazing artwork. You got the big mech goblin there. You got the guy, the warriors, the fire guys, the mages. Just all kinds of really cool stuff with the artwork here. And I mean, this image right here, you see a little better. It's actually the cover of the rule book. That might be my favorite single piece of artwork in any game I've ever played. I just love that Uncle Sam motif, the big bulked out goblin with the ripped coat and the sword and everything. Love this picture, love the artwork in this game, and that's why it's made my list. It's just fun to pick up the cards and go through them and play them and look at all that awesome art. So that is the number 9 game on my list. Gosu. Number 8 game on my list is King of Tokyo, and King of Tokyo is another game that has a lot of great chits to it. You get these transparent energy cubes that you use for money in the game. You use these, another game with big chunky dice to roll. That's really awesome. You get some great cards. These are used to basically upgrade your character, and you really feel like you're a monster mutating in a cheesy monster movie. So those are really neat. But, of course, the stars of this game are the cardboard stand-up characters, and these are just really neat. You get a bunch of them. You see how they're really big, kind of oversized. And this is another example of a game where characters don't have variable powers, at least in the base game, and you still get excited about who you're going to play. You still want to be Gigazor, and you still want to take out Cyber Bunny. So that's really exciting, really fun to play these different characters, and a great example of not needing plastic to represent your characters. Just some pretty solid cardboard with a plastic stand-up. And that's all you need. I mean, they could have doubled or tripled the price of this game by making these all giant plastic pieces. But they give you some really awesome artwork, really cool-looking characters on cardboard, really fun to play. You also get your corresponding character card, your dials with your health and your victory points there. So just a lot to look at, a lot to play with, a lot to enjoy in this game. That is number 8, King of Tokyo. Number 7 on my list is Memoir 44. Now, a lot can be said about this game. It's a great light war game, very cool World War II experience. But the reason it made this list is, come on, it's a big box of army men. Look at that. I mean, you get the little shooters, the soldiers, you got tanks, the green are the allies, blue is the Axis, your artillery guns, you got sandbags and tank blockers. And I mean, this is a game that just takes you back, as, you know, fun as the game is, and is, you know, it's a complex game, not too complex, but I mean, there is some complexity to it. It just takes you back to being 6 years old, playing out in the yard, digging in the dirt, making up big war campaigns for your little green army men. So I mean, I just love this game. I love to play it. And like I said, as excited as the game is, it doesn't get me as excited as just basically playing with a box of toys. And that's why that game made my list, Memoir 44. The number 6 game on my list is an often overlooked game from Days of Wonder called Cargo Noir. Now, Cargo Noir is a set collection pick up and deliver game. Doesn't really break a lot of ground in either area. But what this game really has going with it is how awesome it looks and how cool all the pieces are. You get this cool map. Well, it's not a map. It's the location tiles, different places you go to sell your stuff. And I think based on the number of players, it's been a while since I played, but I think based on the number of players is how many of these you have down on the board. And those are really neat. And then you have these player mats. And these are just different international gangs that you'll play. And just really neat artwork from, you know, different characters, kind of caricatures from all over the world. This one, of course, is my favorite. Inspires a lot of bad Godfather imitations in my group. Look how they massacred my boy. I told you they were bad. But again, another example of a game with no variable powers for the characters, but still you care about who you're playing because they're also cool looking. The other thing you get in this game is these ships, these really cool looking chunky plastic ships. And they look like bath toys, I know, but they're still fun. They're really neat and just real solid and fun to move around the board. And then you got this here. This is really what makes this game for me. The money. You got these big, thick plastic coins. They say Cargo Noir on them. And this is my favorite currency in any game I've ever played. Just real nice, thick, heavy plastic. I love these. I just want to get a big pile of them and swim around in them like Scrooge McDuck. Just really cool pieces. I love just earning the money. Just when you score big and you get that and you clank that down in front of your opponents, just really makes a point. Great pieces in this game. Again, that's Cargo Noir from Days of Wonder, number 6. Number 5 game on my list is Star Trek Starfleet Captains. And it's very simple why this game is on the list. I'll show you the insert that comes in the box. All these ships you get, all these cool spaceships. It's Starfleet in a box. Tons of cool Federation ships, a bunch of Klingon ships to fight. I'll just pull a couple of these out. You get a couple of different versions of the Enterprise. You get the Excelsior, which is a big part of a lot of the original Star Trek movies. They combine the eras in this game, different Star Trek eras. So you get Voyager, you get the Defiant from Deep Space Nine. Just a lot of really cool ships here. Just really fun to pull this game out, play with it, and just experience Star Trek and use your imagination and recreate all those moments you'd love from the Star Trek series and Star Trek movies. So that's why this game is number 5 on my list. Starfleet Captains. Okay, watch this so far, I know what you're thinking. This guy just wants plastic, he wants minis, he wants toys. He's an Ameritrash guy. And while that may or may not be so, the fact is that thematic Ameritrash games do focus on the components, where Euro games, more often than not, don't. And that's okay, there are a lot of great Euro games out there, and they're a very enjoyable experience. They're just not about the components. The one exception to that is the number 4 game on my list, Stone Age. Stone Age has a lot of really awesome pieces. You get some wooden dice, and I know a lot of you are thinking now, okay, it's not a Euro because it has dice, but I consider this game to be a Euro. You get cool wooden dice. You get this really awesome leather cup to roll them in, and I know the one sense it's not really affected by a lot of these components is smell, but oh, this leather smells so good. You get to roll those dice in that cup. You get this really cool first player marker, Caveman on the Throne. You get some cool wild hair little caveman meeples. And then your resources that you're collecting in this game. A lot of Euro games, you're looking at discs, you're looking at cubes, just different colors. In this game, you got stone that actually looks like cut pieces of stone. You got clay bricks that actually look like clay bricks. You have wood that actually looks like planks of wood. and you got gold that looks like gold bars. So it's really cool when you're collecting these. You actually feel like you're collecting them as they gather in front of you. You're like, okay, I have clay, I have gold, I have bricks, and it really feels like that's what you're gathering in the game. And it really enhances the experience. So Stone Age, I think it's a great game. It has tons of great components. Number 4 on my list. The number 3 game on my list, and another one is all about the dice, is QUARRIORS. Now, the best way I can show you QUARRIORS, with apologies to Tom Vassell, is to just dump them out there and let you see what they all look like. I mean, just so many pretty dice. And this game's really divisive. Some people love it, some people hate it, but you can't argue with how pretty those dice are and how cool they are to look at. I mean, you just got all these different colors. Some of them are clear. You got just bright different colors, all those different cool symbols. What do they do? I love this game. Every time you play it, you randomly draw for that game which dice you're going to be rolling, which dice you're going to be playing with. Always excited what combinations we're going to have, and just get a handful of those dice, all those different colors, those cool looking dice, and roll them. It's top-notch quality on these dice. So cool looking. That's all you get. I mean, the game is a few cards, a board, and then just a big pile of dice. And I love it. It's so much fun. It's my number 3 favorite component game. A lot of you may be thinking, well, what about Dice Masters? Dice Masters has kind of replaced QUARRIORS for a lot of people. It's licensed, it's superheroes. Some people like that a lot better. Well, I won't go into my rant about collectible games in general and WizKids superhero-themed game collectible games specifically, but let's just say QUARRIORS gets the nod for me because I buy one game and I own it all. I don't have to hunt anything else down. An expansion comes out, I go buy that. Now I own all those dice. So I think you get my drift. I'm much more into the complete game of QUARRIORS. Like I said, that's my number 3 top component game. The number 2 game on my list is one that, in my opinion, is very underrated. It's Marvel Heroes from Fantasy Flight, which unfortunately is no longer available, no longer in print. The big selling point for this game was the painted miniatures you got. You got a whole bunch of them. You got some X-Men, and you got some Avengers, and you had the Fantastic Four in all their weirdness. You had some freelance guys like Daredevil and Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. Of course, you had some bad guys for them to fight. And I think altogether you had 20 painted miniatures in this game, which are really nice, pretty cool figures, really add a lot to the game. But for me, the big selling point in this game is the board. And let me just show you that. Open this up and show it to you. This is basically just a map of New York, but it's a map of Marvel's New York. And it just has a real Marvel feel to it. Everything from just the color to the font. And you can see here it's real. As I zoom in, you can see the color, just the graphics are real grainy. It looks exactly like what a Marvel comic would have looked like back in the late 80s, early 90s, which when I was very much into Marvel comics. That's my own personal golden age for Marvel. If you read Marvel comic back then, they used to publish something called Marvel Update, which is kind of like an encyclopedia. And I think this is the exact map. If not, it's very close to the map that they had in the Marvel Update. So it just really puts me in that feel of playing in that Marvel world, especially in that era, because a lot of the missions and the scenarios in this game are based on Marvel storylines from that time period. This is probably my favorite board of any game I've played on. I just love the way this board looks, the way it's colored, the way, just everything about it is just so fantastic. It adds so much to the game. It just really sucks you in to that Marvel universe. If you've watched my old reviews, you know I'm a very big comic book fan. I love playing comic book themed games, and just this one is just such a great looking game. It captures the feel of the Marvel universe in Marvel Universe's New York. And that's what makes this my number 2 favorite component game, Marvel Heroes. And my number 1 favorite game based on components is Tobago. Everything is just so beautiful about this game. Let me open the box up and show you. First of all, my favorite insert in any game I've ever played. Just such a nice place for everything. You got 3-part modular board that unfolds, kind of fits together like a jigsaw puzzle. And you got the perfect place to put that. You got these pieces over here that hold the board together. And again, perfectly molded for that. If you move these cards out of the way, you have spaces for the Jeeples. I call these Jeeples, little player movements. I don't know if I'm the first person to use that term, but I'll definitely take credit for it if nobody else does. But you see, these are really cool. They're carved out of wood. They got the headlights and the grill and the windshield painted on them. Then you also fit down there these little tiki huts, and these go down on the board. These are carved out of wood as well. Cool little component there. You got these palm trees that go down on the board in different locations. And then my number 1 single favorite component of any game I've ever played are these little tiki dolls the game comes with. And I mean, just look how amazing these are. These Sculpts are fantastic. You never know it. I mean, these look like rock. There's nothing on here to tell you it's not rock, but these are actually some kind of resin. But they look like rock. They feel like rock in your hand. They're rough. The edges are, are rough and just they have that rock feel to them. They sound like rock. Everything about them just says these are practically carved out of stone. So just a fantastic little game piece. Like I said, fits great back into the insert here. Everything about this game. It's a great game. Tobago is really fun. If you haven't played it, give it a try. But everything about it is so elegant. Just opening the box up, setting the game up, putting it away is a pleasure. You can't say that about too many different games, but I just love setting this game up and looking at all the pieces and putting it together. Just a fantastic game, beautiful to look at, fun to play, and definitely worthwhile of #1 spot on my top 10 games based on components. Okay, everybody, thanks so much for watching this edition of the Top 10 List. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave me a comment. Tell me what games have your favorite components. Special thanks today for Jackson. He helped me unpack and pack up a lot of these games. And I think after getting all this stuff out on the table, we're excited to go back and play some of these, huh? So we'll be doing those soon. If you haven't watched our other top 10 lists, go ahead back and do that now. And while you're at it, please be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. If you're interested in any of these games you saw on the list today, be sure to look for them on altergames.net. Great game site that is going to have great deals on all the games you're looking for. You can go find all our older videos on YouTube, Facebook, Board Game Geek, or the Alterga Game site. That's all we have for today, guys. Until #7, have fun out there.